Morning. It is time to gather around and talk about Tao of the Day. I want to wish everybody a happy holiday, a festive season for each and every one of you. If you're in the Christmas thing, if you're in the Hanukkah thing, if you're in the all of the things, I hope that you are wrapping up your year well and happy and content with where you're at in your life, and hoping that you are open to receiving more love in 2022 and more appreciation for yourself and others as we move into that. But this is the Tao of the Day. The Tao translate the Tao Te Ching translates to the canon of reason. And if you want to jump on and give me a number between 1 and 81, we will talk about your chapter of the Tao today. I always like to have a number in store for myself because, reaching every day can be a challenge, right? And it's great to have a meditation to kind of keep with you every day. And today I'm going to choose number 50. Let's see what number 50 has in store for me today. The master gives himself up to whatever the moment brings. He knows that he is going to die, and there is nothing left to hold on to. No illusion in his mind, no resistance in his body. He doesn't think about his actions. They flow from the core of his being. He holds nothing back from life. Therefore, he is ready for death, as a man is ready for sleep after a hard day's work. This is beautiful for me because, like sometimes I get into this place of doubting myself and doubting what I do and how I do it. But really, there's no reason to, because so much of what I do does flow from me and I just want to do it. Now, when I find I am doing things and they are flowing from me because I am afraid or because of other things, then I have to remember once again, oh, you know what? I'm going to die. None of this matters, right? This is just where I am right now. And that's a way that we can really understand how one moment leads into the next and how we can embrace where we are at this moment, right? Like if we can embrace that, yes, I'm working from a place of fear, or yes, I'm working from a place of lack, or I'm working from a place of whatever it is. That's where you are right now, and that's okay. And it's not like you won't get there again, even if you pass it up now, because there's probably more lack and more fear and all of this kind of on the other side of it. We don't, I always like to look at things in this way. Like learn, um, we don't learn how to be afraid. We're born afraid and we learn how to overcome it. And that's our state where we're just always on alert. And when we learn to be comfortable with our fear, it's really hard to let it go. So I'm going to go through this one line by line. If you want to come in and I can always come back to number 50. If you want to come in, if you have a number to share with me today, I would love to have you on. I am, like I said, I am reading number 50, which says, the master gives himself up to whatever the moment brings. He knows that he's going to die, and there is nothing left to hold on to. No illusion in his mind, no resistance in his body. He doesn't think about his actions, they flow from the core of his being. He holds nothing back from life, therefore, he is ready for death, as a man is ready for sleep after a good day's work. Okay, so the master gives himself up to whatever the moment brings. This is important, and I've spoken about this. I think I spoke about it yesterday with Kelly Swenson, and I think we were talking about this concept of who are you right now? What is your identity right now? And if your identity right now is holding you back from something, you want to be able to grow out of that. The master gives himself up, himself being that identity that he holds on to. You are not your identity. You are not what this body is holding. You're so much more than that. You are so much more than that. And so am I. I am more than this Tao of the Day host, podcast host, like healer, whatever. I'm more than that. And I'm able to connect with people energetically. And so I know I'm more than that, right? I can have experiences that prove to me that I am more than just this body. But I do have an identity that holds on to this body. And I have an identity that holds on to this aspect of who I think I am, even as a healer, even as an energetic connector. I have an identity of what that is. And I can lose track of the fact that by being able to connect with energy of another person, and by being able to connect and be drawn to another person or another object or another place, I I'm more than this body. And yet I identify that action as being part of this body. So I do know that there's still, like there's still more. There's still more. There's always so much more. And even though I can give myself up from moment to moment, I'm not always able to be in the moment, having given myself up, right? I I continually find myself like collapsing into more identity. Like, even though I'm able to give up that identity for the energetics and for the whole and for the connection to God, and I can walk around and be like, I am that tree, and I can connect with that tree. I still have this pride about being able to do that. I still have this understanding that it is me in this body that does that. But really, this body exists within the soul, and that soul is what I am reaching for. And so I do at some point want to flip that. I want to be like, oh, it's the soul that is connecting to the body, not the body that is connecting energetically to the tree. Right? The soul is the tree. The soul is me. And so that's the direction that I've been going recently. And a way I've been doing that is to present questions throughout my day of who am I? What do I want? And what about me is in touch with this moment right now. And by being able to do that, I'm able to grow even more into this concept that I understand as like giving up of myself. He knows that he's going to die, and there is nothing left to hold on to. Okay, so it should be said, as most of you know, or if you've listened to me, you know that I recently celebrated 21 years clean and sober, and so I'm over 21 years clean and sober. And during those days, I got to a place where I now believe I am living on borrowed time. Let's call it. It's not borrowed time. Obviously, this is my life. I understand that now. But I had lived for a long time, looking at my life as being lived on borrowed time. And when you get to live your life in that place, you get to live your life in a space of borrowed time. You do realize you are going to die. Maybe you should be dead. And so you utilize these moments now in just with more care. You sit here in this space with a little more care than people do who are holding on to life. I don't hold on to life as much as I used to. I don't hold on to this moment as much as I used to. I'm able now to allow that to fall away. I'm now able to, the next line is no illusion in his mind, no resistance in his body. Although it's not true that I have no illusion in my mind, and it's not true that I have no resistance in my body, there's plenty of that going on still. But I feel like I am closer than many people to understanding that those things in my mind are illusions, and I can feel the resistance in my body. And by feeling the resistance in my body, I can shed it a little bit more. I can let that go just a bit. And by being able to let go of that resistance, maybe I'll be able to understand that there is nothing left to hold on to. Understand that I can give this up right now so that I can be in this moment. Be in this moment right now without the preconceived idea of who I was or what the illusions are in my mind. I can be here present with no resistance in my body. He doesn't think about his actions, they flow from the core of his being. And I like to think that about me always, right? Like when I am in love, I am just in love at that moment, right? And that is something that I really like to explore. That's something that I really like to be present with. And then when that's over, which it will inevitably be at some point, that I can let that go. And now that's not easy, but I can be here in the moment with either sadness or the loss or whatever, because that's the experience I'm having right now. And without um, and the actions, like I don't have to think about the future with my actions. I can be here present with them, and I can express them wholly, and I can be present with what is happening within me. I don't have to hold back, right? I don't think about my actions. I can be like, oh, doesn't feel comfortable. Let me sit in it. Let me be present with it. Let me hold fast to it while it's here, while I'm doing this. And recently I've been doing a lot of my own work as it relates to my ability to receive my own love, because it's really easy for me to love others, um, in an unconditional way, where it's like you don't have to do anything and I will love you. But I realized that, like, in order to have my own love, I had to do things. I had to be productive. I couldn't be lazy, or I couldn't be all of these judgments, all of these things that are in my head, right? The resistance of my body, the illusion of my mind, the illusion in my mind being, if you aren't productive, you aren't valuable. And those were things that I was withholding love from myself around. And by being able to recognize that, I can start to free myself of the fear and of all of that stuff that comes into that, so that I can literally be here, be present in the moment, and love myself no matter what I'm doing. And over the last month, I have not been very productive at all. And I've been sitting and I've been asking myself those questions of, like, who am I? What do I want? What is going on with me right now? What can I do to attract more love, or to receive more love, or to do these things in my life, and to be present, and to get myself to Spain, because that's where I'm going, right? I want to move to Spain, and yet nothing in my life has opened up to make that possible. Now I can take action on that, of course, um, but I don't see the action to take yet. The action hasn't presented itself to me yet, and like, I'm whatever. Maybe that will present itself shortly, or I will take action on it in some way, because I do like taking action and running my business, and all of those sorts of things with my clients and other things like that make it sometimes a little, like, convoluted. I don't know, if maybe I don't want to move to Spain. Maybe I don't want my business. Maybe I feel like having both of those is important, but we'll see. As I move forward, I allow myself to let go of that idea that I want to move to Spain, the idea that I want to have this business succeed. Maybe I don't. Maybe those things are okay to let go of, right? This is what it means by giving myself up. And so over the last month, I have been trying increasingly to give up who I am, to allow the moment. Now, it should be said that I have been part of a group that as it's a group that revolves around the goddess Kalantaka. And over the last, I don't know, 3 or 4 months, 5 months, I've been involved in this, and there is a stripping away of more and more of my ego, as I go through as I continue to be a part of the group, even though I haven't really spoken to the group since my initiation or whatever. It is interesting that I am stripping away more and more of my identity as I go through that. And so I don't have to think about my actions. And then I always come back, and I always return to thinking about my actions, because that's my habit. Kelly's going to join us. Kelly, I mentioned you earlier. How are you doing?
Hello. Doing good, I think. Yes.
26?
26?
26. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh
Off
no,
with the.
no, no. I didn't say 26.
Oh,
But
okay.
now I am saying 26 because
Okay.
that I would choose that. But no, I said I'm doing good.
Oh,
I
good.
wanted to ask you before you read,
Yeah.
do you want to go to Spain?
Yeah.
Is that true for you? That
Yeah.
feels true?
Yeah.
Okay. Then you're right. You want to go. I just
Yeah.
wanted to ask.
Oh, yeah. Well, thank you. Yeah. Yeah. I do. It's interesting. Um, yeah, we can talk about this since you're here. So my initial, so back in, I don't know, it was 2014, it was 2013, I think it was when I 2012, when I first went to Spain, and I was driving through the Spanish countryside. I was driving through Galicia because that's where I have family. And I was, and I looked around, and this was before I even found my family in Spain. So my
Mm.
grandfather left when my dad was 2, and I found him when I was 30, and that there was a,
Aw.
30, 40, 45 year gap in between that. And as I was driving through, I was like, wow, if I wanted to move anywhere, this would be like I could live here. And that was the
Yeah.
only place I ever felt like I could live. Now, other than Chicago, when I was driving through the Spanish countryside, I was like, if I ever wanted to leave Chicago, this is where I would come. And it wasn't for like 6 years that one day, 6 years later, I woke up and I was like, I'm not going to be in Chicago my whole life. And I don't know what spurred that. It was just, I woke up one day and said, I'm not going to be here forever. And then I
Hmm.
stopped and I thought, it was like, well, if I'm not going to be here, where would I go? And I was like, Spain.
That was easy for you. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and it presented itself to me, and I'll say, like, I don't hold fast to Spain. I look at it more like that's the direction I'm steering, and I want to see what the universe has for me.
There's something to
Like,
experience. Yeah. Right?
yeah, and so,
Yeah.
like, just being, and I'm about to cry, and I don't know why.
Oh, that's beautiful though.
And like, like, there's this whole space of just like of that's home.
Yes. And that feeling of home is not replaceable. Of course. Like there's something more powerful than and it's home. I think I said a little bit about this yesterday, but like it's powerful. It's powerful. And I think what I heard right then was that you were giving yourself like almost permission, like acknowledge that in you.
Yeah. And and you know so much of it, like, so much of this journey, wow, I'm emotional and I don't know why.
Mm,
um so much of this journey of, like, figuring out, like, how, or figuring out, like, all of the like, there's so much, I don't want to call it resistance, although it may be.
mm,
um there's so much around, like, moving out of the country and, like, trying to be, like, independent in that way that, like, um that one would need to be when you've left all your supports behind.
yeah, yeah. And
And there's, go on.
no, I'm listening. I hear you though.
Yeah,
I feel that.
yeah, and there's fear there, of course, and so, when you ask, like, do you want to go to Spain, like, yes, I do. And I have no idea, like, there's no proof, there's no reason, there's nothing pragmatic about it. And and there's nothing, like, there's 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 nothing sure about it, and that makes it scary.
Is that a kitty cat or kids in the background?
That's a cat.
Okay.
That's my buddy Lou.
Ooh,
She is my buddy.
what a great name for a girl cat, Lou. I love it.
It's Lu with an umlaut, so it's
Oh,
Le. Yeah.
That's even better.
Yeah.
You know, um, I one time tried to move out of the country. Kind of. I have children. Those two were little at the time. It was just me. But
Hmm.
people told me that it was dangerous there and all these things, and so I didn't do that. And I'm here now, so it's okay. But I
Yeah. Yeah.
don't. I don't like living my life on what other people say. Like because I could have always come back. Like these choices that I make when other people weigh in on my choices, and it's on one hand like I need perspective, but on the other hand, it's like they don't live with the consequences, and then I get to be bummed out that I didn't or something, and it's like you have more to lose when you don't than when you do right.
Yeah. Yeah. And you're being moved there. And so I'm reading this number 50, and like the master gives himself up to whatever the moment brings,
Mm,
and understanding that, yes, other people, you were living under the influence of someone else's ideas for a time,
yeah.
that can change at any moment, and even as I think about like moving to Spain and doing all that, like I realize over the last couple months, as I'm learning to love myself and learning to receive. And I think that's one thing about my life. And now that we're talking about this, I guess, one thing about my life that's interesting is I wasn't I wasn't able to, although I love myself deeply, I wasn't able to love myself in the same way I love others, in this unconditional way. Like if you were to come to me and you hurt me, I'm going to still love you, even though I'm going to make sure that I have boundaries that don't continue to hurt me. I'm going to
Hmm.
continue to love you. Well, when I wasn't productive, I would, chastise myself. I wouldn't love myself
Hmm.
as much as, and so, so much around this work, to either get to Spain or to be who I am, and all that, like, gets, like, now that I can love myself and receive from others. I don't think one of the things that in loving myself was, if I love myself in this productive way, I don't have to, like, I will love you, but you don't have to love me.
Yeah.
And the thing is although that's true, I also sometimes didn't allow people to love me. And I didn't allow myself to receive love from other people. And I think that that's going to be an important thing to know how to do if I want to move out of this country and if I want to move out on my own in that way.
It starts with knowing what it feels like. It truly, like, that's the biggest problem, I believe. The biggest hurdle that we have is like, we don't know we can't recognize what we don't know.
Right.
And and we don't know. We don't know. We remember my little one, I think it was my almost 12-year-old, she'll be 12 in 3 days. Would she be like, how do you know that God is real? Because God is whatever you want to call God, but there's for me a universal truth. And I would be like, I would squeeze her and I'd be like, do you feel that? And she'd be like, yeah. And I was like, what's it feel like? She's like, good. I'm like, that's how I know. Like that feeling, like connecting to that is more magical, more profound than, of course, we forget. We always have to keep relearning our lessons and stuff, but
Yeah.
that's, it's, it's hard. It's devotion. It's your Tao every day. It's devotion. It's devotion. It's showing up every day, making a practice of remembering that feeling so that you don't keep forgetting, right? That's what it is.
Yeah. And I, like having a practice where I check in every day and where I do, where like, and actually that practice is like naturally over the last month and a half has really ramped up, like my ability to be quiet with myself. And even yesterday I had to ask myself, like, I'm doing this a lot. Am I escaping something? Am I
Yeah.
not wanting to feel something? Am I not wanting to engage in something? And I'm like, I'll keep looking at it, but I don't think so.
That actually came for me. That was one of the things I had to notice myself too. Like a lot of it, the collective consciousness blows my mind because I'll have these like epiphanies that I feel so are just so profound, and then everybody else had them at the same time, essentially.
Yeah, yeah. And so I'm really glad that we're connecting on that, because like it's important to ask that question. It's important to ask. I'm coming out of addiction, right? 21 years, whatever.
Okay.
But it's important for me to thank you. It's important for me to recognize where I might be falling back into this idea of pacifying myself. And although it feels really centering and good, like it also brings up all of this emotion, which I'm having right now, even, just about like what I'm stepping into. And I even, I mean, I wrote my Spanish family today. We chatted a little bit and I was just like, oh, how beautiful! Like you're all together, and it's like, oh, that's
Oh,
so nice, like it was so beautiful to see that, and really, my whole life, I looked at family in a very certain way, and my family here in the States doesn't necessarily see it in the same way I do. And then when I found my family in Spain, I was very much like, oh, you guys and I have the same ideas, and
yeah.
that I learned that after I looked around the Galician countryside and was like, I could live here. So like I made that, I was like, this is where I would want to be. And then I found my family, and then I found that we were more connected, and then I woke up one day and said, I'm not going to be in Chicago forever.
Inter that true family too, right? Like it's almost like even if you weren't related, you would still feel like that's your family, that's your home, like those are your people. Like
Right.
that feeling is, gosh, it's so much.
Yeah. And like I mean, we can talk about astrology and other things like that, and I'm a Cancer, so I feel really heavily and I
Mm,
love really deeply, and I want, and I embrace and just like swim in emotion, and I'm guided by intuition very deeply, right? Like,
mm-hmm.
and I piece things together like disparate bits of information. And my whole life, when I look at my life from that 30,000 foot mark, I look at my addiction, I look at my diagnosis of MS, and I look at all of these things and I go, wow, it all makes so much sense. And
Yeah.
then and then I'm here in this moment and I'm like, how does this work? Like I know and I have faith at the fact that like everything is pieced together beautifully and like seamlessly. And then I sit here in this moment and go, how could this be this moment? And, like all of my faith or all of my understanding is like out the window in just because like I hurt now. And it's like
Mm,
I've realized over and over and over again that hurt makes sense. And you are taking and you're not avoiding it. And that's
yeah.
what really makes it so beautiful.
Feeling it. Yeah. I mean, yes. When I physically responded like trauma, and I don't even know I'm doing it, and I'm shutting down, and I'm just like can't breathe deeply, and I forget everything that I believe, essentially, and then like I'm like, oh crap, like I'm literally rejecting myself. I look around, and the things about my life that I don't like are all just me trying to get my attention. Like I'm
Yeah.
begging myself to notice my struggle or my hurt or just be like present for myself. And it's how King on Hair says like self love isn't selfish. Like I'm sure we've all said that, but that's now my connection to him. But it's true. Like I have such a strong aversion to arrogance that I would ignore the value of self love. And it's like, wait, I can be important. It doesn't mean I'm arrogant. It doesn't mean that I'm like full of myself or that I'm selfish or that I only am going to think about me if I do think about me.
Yeah. And it's so important to look at that. I would love for you to come back on because we did talk 26, and I want to read that with you, and I want you to finish your thoughts if you want. Okay, is the yes, it is, Kelly. I don't want to take up your whole day, but I would love to have another bout with you.
Yeah, me too. I didn't even know I wasn't looking at my phone. I always miss the
Yeah.
timer.
It's always so nice when we get into that state of connecting that it's like we're not just on an app that's going to cut us out, you
Yeah.
know? And it gets cut out and it's like, okay, no big deal. I'll come back around
Yeah.
if I can. I want to read this 26 and then I'd love to go through it. And I think it's really poignant to this moment.
Okay.
So the heavy is the root of the light. The unmoved is the source of all movement. Thus, the master travels all day without leaving home. However splendid the views, she stays serenely in herself. Why should the lord of a country flit about like a fool? If you let yourself be blown to and fro, you lose touch with your root. If you let restlessness move you, you lose touch with who you are. So poignant.
The last line, right? The
Yeah,
restlessness moves you, then you're not being intentional.
right. And it's so beautiful for me, like because like recently I've been just sitting still
Mm,
and so much of I'm super emotional today.
it's perfect. You
um
needed to be.
yeah. um so like this moment, right, like this space of if I were to let restlessness move me, which I did in the past and I still do, I'm sure, but this idea that like you have to do something, you have to be somewhere, you have to, you know. And this is probably also speaking to like the dark retreat that I'm going to take, and this idea of like just be still, be quiet, don't see, right, like be in this space. Hmm.
Um, I missed a piece of that because I was moving away from my Wi-Fi because I'm not walking and it's
Oh.
sprinkling and the sun hasn't quite come up. So
Oh,
I just
okay.
feel like this is the perfect time to come outside and walk a little bit.
Yeah.
Um, I, so I didn't hear the first part of that. I just heard the dark retreat. But
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. So like yeah, just it speaks also to the fact that I'll be going on this dark retreat, which is about being still and being present and
mm,
not being able to see and not being able to like check in with all of the things that keep me restless.
it's funny that being still is not sitting still,
Right.
right? Like we just, its language is so darn confining. And like
Right.
somebody was telling me that they thought mindfulness was this and this, and I was like, well, my perception of it is this. She was like, I would never have thought that. Like I just always thought mindfulness was dumb because it meant like getting in your head, like the language.
Oh,
Ah,
wow. No, yeah.
I know it's like literally getting out, but um, it. I can stare at a wall all day and like lose a lot of time and then only just feel more anxious. So it's
Right.
not, yeah, it's literally being present, being mindful,
Yeah.
releasing. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's so
and if you sit still and your mind is restless, that's not helpful. It's about being here right now.
not getting
So
mad at yourself when you're doing that too. By the way, just
yeah,
in case anyone's listening and they're like trying, I know meditation took me a long, long time to
right.
accept, not just understand, but truly just accept it, I think, because I thought that I was supposed to do something when it's literally just be there and something happens eventually. No?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And you know, as we're talking, you know, like there's heaviness and there's the, you know, like I love that you came on to ask me if I wanted to move to Spain because like being able to say that without it's easy sometimes to be like I want this and not express that that's what I want to another person. And so like it's really beautiful for me to be questioned that because it makes me just pause and be mindful of the question. and we move into 26, and it starts with this line: the heavy is the root of the light, and the
Mm,
unmoved is the source of all movement.
yeah.
When I see this, the heavy is the root of the light, it is like going through this heaviness, going through this emotion that I have been feeling today or this morning or since I started this, because I felt just fine earlier, but like I'm touching something, and that's heavy. But in order to like experience the lightness, like that has to be felt.
Yes. You it's to know you can know love, but you can't recognize it if you haven't experienced loss or unlove. Like you have to have the yin and the yang. And
Right.
yeah, and it can feel very unfortunate many times, but it's something we can accept, and then it doesn't become heavy anymore. Then that in itself has becomes light, like accepting.
Right. Like the lightness comes through the heaviness, because everything without those things is just neutral. Without an opposite. You can't experience tall unless you've experienced short. So if everyone in your family is like, you know, 6'3", you don't know that you're tall if you're 6'1",
I'm
until you go out and see someone that's 5'3".
I'm 5'1", and I don't remember that I'm not tall until I see myself stand next to somebody or give them a hug, and then I'm like, oh, it's weird. How short am I? Like
Yeah.
I forget all the time. Yeah,
And
it's
that's
funny.
it's so it is in comparison, and is in the identifying of something, which we were talking about earlier with 50, this idea of like letting yourself go so that you can experience this moment. Like if you're constantly thinking, I'm short, I'm this, I'm that, well then you can't be in the moment because you're too busy defining who you
Mm.
are.
It's feelings. It's
Yeah.
feelings. The light and the heavy. It's feelings. Like if we have forever been telling like our people to just do this, do that, to deny feelings. Like of
Yeah.
course it has to come back around. It has to come back up. It's what causes addiction. It causes disruption all the time. Which okay, so it had to be felt, but here we are. We're about to experience the light. It's not
Right.
heavy.
And then, the unmoved is the source of all movement. And I like that and I liken that to the idea that like, if you aren't going to be swayed one way or another by someone else's ideas, then you will act from this space of connection, and
Mm.
things will actually move rather than you trying to force them to move as they resist.
I think to myself how when I know my truth, then it's not that I'm being stubborn. It's just that I know my truth. And through me speaking my story, it empowers other people to know their story, their truth, and have movement.
Yeah. And here we come again. Thus the master travels all day without leaving home. However splendid the views, she stays serenely in herself. And
Hmm.
that's exactly what you're saying. This idea that like when I know my truth, I don't have to go find yours. Like you will know your truth through me, and I will be able to know mine through you in this moment.
And that really roots you. That is being grounded in
Yeah.
for sure in so many ways. And it's how anyone who's listening, but to us, right? Like that feeling of just that centered, like I'm fine as me. Like I feel good walking in the rain right now. Like I don't mind walking the alley. Like by trash cans, and I actually like this alley a lot. But I like walking in the alley versus the sidewalk on roads with polished lawns. Actually, like
Hmm.
these pieces. are my truth. Like it's me. And when I'm comfortable and I find like so much love and pleasure in these little things, like, yeah, you don't, you're not chasing anymore. That feeling is so good. Like, it's so good to not have to seek outside of you, but to just experience the world around you.
Yeah. Just to be present now where you are. And that's a big, like, because there is a lot of identity that could be associated with things from moment to moment. But when we can just be here present, like, and that can be fleeting, or that could be something that's sustainable or what have you. But like, we can just be here present in the moment, right? Like there is an assumption that, oh, people don't like walking in the rain, oh, people don't like
Mm.
walking in the alley, and people don't like all these things, and I love all of those things, right? Like being here present, and I love those things intrinsically, and then I also love those things as part of my identity. And it's like, which one am I touching right now? Just like when, okay, I'm going to sit quietly, and like I'm going to close my computer and just sit and let this just be here, let myself be here in this moment. And when the next most obvious thing comes to me, I will do that thing. But then there can also be in that this kind of fear of, am I escaping something? Is there something I'm not looking at? Is there so, like, and just questioning that within that process, just to be like, am I afraid, or am I being honest right now?
I might
I
be
think
running out of time, but I would love to share with you really quickly, just in case my phone's not out.
you got 3 minutes. You're good.
Okay, great. So, that which we resist persists comes up in my head a lot since I heard it recently. And we need connection. I don't like I don't even have a TV. And most of my life I don't have a TV unless I'm living with somebody who has a TV. I don't care about it.
Yeah.
But I have been on my phone a lot the last 6 months. Prior to 6 months ago, I wasn't. And I don't like being online because I don't feel well when I do it too much. And here I am, like lately, like I have so many digital problems. My accounts, my applications, my everything it gets lost frequently. Well, all of my life, actually, my identity, it's always messed up online, and I'm always like so like this massive anomaly that I don't know anyone who's experienced it quite as much as me at no like conscious hand of my own. All of that to say that like being in this conversation with right now, I'm like experiencing some of that again. Like it's coming back up. Things are getting deleted, missing. I'm like, am I crazy? Like doubting myself. And then I think like I just am online too much. And
Yeah.
I forgot to pay attention and I wasn't feeling good, just energetically, like unhappy. But it's not all these other things. I mean, there are other things to also look at, but this is one of them. And I might not have acknowledged it without this moment of connecting with you here and allowing my mind to just be open and listen. Like
Mm.
it's powerful. Like the value of connection, the value of being open, the value of like stepping up and just not being embarrassed or feeling silly and feeling safe that you're not going to be judged or, it's powerful. It's magic in itself. Like it's important. We need
Oh, I love you. This is so beautiful, and
it.
I just want to finish this out, because this what you just said fits so well into the rest of this.
Yeah.
Why should the lord of a country flit about like a fool? And when we talk about country, I always like to think about the body or the spirit or the mind or whatnot. Like, why should you flit about like a fool? If you let yourself be blown to and fro, you lose touch with your root. If you let restlessness move you, you lose touch with who you are.
Yeah.
And that so relates back to our connection to like I know for myself, like I could put my phone down just after shutting off Instagram, and then within 30 seconds almost have it back in my hand opening up Instagram again.
Unconsciously. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I'm like, what am I doing? And then I got to
Yeah,
put my phone on airplane mode and do all these things just so I can take an extra step in doing something that just has become so easy.
I think it's loneliness. I think
It
we do
is.
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
weird, but yes,
I expressed to my sister just the other day, like, I'm lonely.
yeah. It's okay to say that. It's true.
Yeah.
It's totally denying that part of us.
Okay. You just got cut off. If you want, please come back on because I would love to continue. If you don't have time or whatnot, like, of course, no big deal. But yeah. Oh, oh, good. Good. You have time. Nice. So yes, I had to express the other day that I'm lonely. And Kelly's going to speak a little bit more about that.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I'm walking. I'm really enjoying it, so I'm gonna make the time because
Oh,
I
good.
like walking in the rain in Arizona on a day like this is the most magical experience. Like it reminds me of my teenage years, and just like these were my escape moments when I would just wander a desert, and it would be like rainy and usually like a spring type of weather, which is warm and just drippy right now, like
Hmm.
sprinkly. The sky is like just like a soft gray, like in blue gray. You know, it's really muted and it's not cold, so the rain just feels kind of like wet without freezing you, and
Nice.
I just love it. So like
Whereabouts in Arizona?
in Tempe, so like the Phoenix area.
Okay. There's
Mhm.
another speaker here on Andy Scarantino, and she just decided she's a New Yorker. She just decided that she's going to be moving to Mesa.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, that's right next to me.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And so yeah. So I don't know. Like I was. It was funny because when we started talking, I was like, I want to ask her where she's at, and it didn't open up. And then you said Arizona, and I was like, oh, Andy's moving there, and
Interesting.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So
It's hard to find
little
people.
connections.
It is, yeah. I I'll like meet somebody maybe that's locally and I'll think, yeah, like we should be friends, but it hasn't had a lot of it work out. And I had friends growing up, of course, but coming back around this time, it just didn't reach out. It didn't feel good, you know? So it's been
Yeah.
a lot of just hanging out, I guess.
How long have you been there?
I came back here August 2020.
Oh, came back, so you're
Or
from the area.
yeah, mostly Northern California, but like born, but like I grew up in the Midwest and here and
Oh, where in the Midwest? Because I'm in Chicago.
so Southeast Oklahoma and St. Louis and Southeast Missouri and
Oh,
Wichita.
wow. Whoa.
But I have a very good friend in Chicago. I've only been a few times, but he's from here too. So
Oh, well, that's
he's
beautiful.
got an
Yeah.
art gallery there actually.
Your
But
friend?
yeah, he's
Whoa, whoa,
pretty
whoa. So I
silly.
had a 20-year art career here in Chicago. Who's your friend?
His name is Clint Troba. He's
Clint
got lots of
Troba.
dreads. Yeah. It's probably not something super big, but he does like he sells a lot of gems. Like, you know, like you buy him like bulk like crystals and things and gems, and then he does like a lot of like abstract or like conceptual art. He has like a little gallery.
Okay, I'm
I have
looking
to
him
look
up
it up.
now. Sorry. Like I'm
Yeah,
like, hey,
yeah,
these
too.
are my people. Like, okay.
His
Art consultant, visual sense.
I should. It was on Telegram the last conversation we had. I'm gonna look it up as I can tell you. No, he's so
Yeah.
lovely. He's just a good energy. He's just I've known him since we were little kids, like all my life. He's one of the few people, but
Yeah, no, I mean, I was a painter. Like over the last number of years, I've moved my art career into the healing realm, and now I do these portraits where it's called portrait facilitation. I do a portrait of somebody, and we have 4 sessions. We have one session with the portrait, and we talk, and then they take the portrait, and I look at it as when you take a piece of paper, that piece of paper knows exactly what it is. It's a piece of paper. There's billions of
that's
them.
how I draw. Yes, you the picture's already there, right? You just like put it down.
And yeah, and then
Oh,
once it comes out, like that is a different thing now. And it is looking for you to define it and define you. And then you get this, you once you're done drawing, you look at your piece. And that's your piece, like discovering what it has not been able to be. up
Yeah.
until that point, up until it came into contact with you. And so I hand the painting over to my client, and they bring it home and do that kind of exploratory work with the painting. And then we come back and then we do two more sessions of just like, hey, let's bring up let's up our awareness of who we are and what we're driven to do and be, and then I do energy work with them, and then I send them out on their way. And that's like my recover yourself portrait work.
I love it. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's great
And
work.
yeah, and I've done past life portraits, and I've done blind portraits where like if you and I have never met, like I'll do a portrait of you over the phone while we're having a conversation.
Oh,
Yeah, and so like I've gotten idiosyncrasies, and again, like we were talking earlier about this idea that like we have ideas of who we are, but and I was talking when I was reading over 50, this idea of like, yes, I have an idea of who I am, but I put myself in my body, and my ego wants to take credit, but really the connection is in the soul, and the body exists within that, right? Not the other way around. I see that
yeah.
as being, and the more I can just step up to the soul connection, step up to the soul, the more often I can do that, the more I have faith in it. and
I
and
agree. Me too.
and
Yeah.
doing the blind portraits was a big exercise in faith in that, because it was like, I don't need a physical connection with somebody in order to connect with them and know what they look like, or know, or allow my drawing skill to show me what they look like.
That just feels good too,
Yeah.
right?
Oh,
It's such a release and it's such a gift, and you just feel like you get to really circulate like part of part of a world that where you're meant to be. You know that like that energy line
yeah.
wave. Yeah.
And trust, man, just to trust, like, that
Yes.
we are here connected.
And trust yourself as you're drawing. Like you don't that if you can get into it, you can literally release all the rest of the doubt because you know that this you're trusting that you're going to be able to communicate exactly what you're meant to and that you can and that it's right and experiencing trust. That's an experiencing of trust for you to be able to do this for other people.
Yeah. And I trust deeply. And the one thing, and I trust blindly, I trust other people blindly, I trust all of these sorts of things. But as I mentioned earlier, like the one place that like trust can wane is in me, because I know the ins and outs, and I know all of the little things, and I still have all of those, like all of that history, right? And
Mm-hmm.
trying to allow myself to grow from that and grow outside of that, and trust myself even though I know the inner workings, like to be able to let go and be present.
That's good. And that's funny. You have a friend who's coming here. I have a friend who lives there. We're both into
Yeah.
art. Interesting.
Yeah.
The world's so
So
small.
yeah, it definitely is. And this last line: if you let yourself be if you let restlessness move you, you lose touch with who you are. And I have to say, like, I mean, I know we've spoken for the last 45 minutes or whatever, but um, to allow myself to be where I am, to allow myself to be emotional, and to come back around, and to continue connecting, and to continue following what is in this moment, whether it is heavy, because I definitely feel lighter now than I did 20, 30 minutes ago,
It's
right?
amazing.
When I was, like,
Yeah.
and I feel lighter and I feel more connected. And yes, okay, we are connected through this app. So even though we technically didn't leave the home, we're still leaving the home, because we're present in this moment in our heart. And I know that even without the app, we would have been able to connect, even though we might not have been able to connect in this sort of direct way, or trust that we're connected in this way. I know that there is now, like, I have an intention to be connected to you, because you have such a beautiful kind of presence.
Hmm. Same. Thank you. Yeah, I'm surprised I haven't talked to you before. I think I messaged that or said that,
Yeah.
but now it's like, of course, it just happens the way it does, and it's so. If we had chatted before, I might have missed what I needed to hear. So there's no regret.
Yeah. And I'm glad that we connected. And I think I mentioned, I mentioned, I think yesterday when I was like, when I saw you in the queue, I was like, don't go anywhere because because I've had that draw to connect with you. And I've wanted to. And so I'm really glad that we finally
Thank
got there.
you. Well, lovely. This is fun. I hope you have a really good day and tomorrow as well.
Yes. Yes, I hope you have a wonderful day as well. If you are celebrating the holiday with family or friends or anything, I hope everybody is healthy and happy and
Thank
connected.
you. Yeah, everybody listening, I could definitely use positivity because this is a split family that's got a lot of stuff to go through. Me
Yeah.
as the matriarch, so
Yes. Yes. Oh,
it's a lot. But
that is an important role and not an
uh,
easy one.
so thank you. And
And I'm sure you handle it. I'm sure you handle your role very well.
you know what? I'm just gonna believe that I will too. Continue. We all fall down. We all fall down,
That's
but
right. Yeah.
it's all
Yeah.
right.
But when I had my MS, it took 80% of the motor function on my left side.
Mhm,
When I had a flare up, I'm okay now. But I would fall down regularly,
mhm,
and I
yeah.
was staying with my sister at the time, and my mom was over there a lot, and I told them straight up, and they didn't even have to tell them, like, I don't want your help getting up. And I was like, falling down is an opportunity for me to get up, and that's kind of how I looked at it.
And not pridefully. It sounds like I know a lot. I understand that MS. I have a obsession with health stuff. So, um, it, yeah, that's a different. There's a lot to say about that, but yeah, yeah, falling down is an opportunity so that you know you can get up.
And I do like the fact that you brought up the prideful thing, like it's about experiencing getting up. It's not about being tough. It's not about my identity. It was about, like, this may be who I am moving
And
forward,
not
and I have to be this now.
and not
In
rejecting yourself. Like you
Right.
didn't just be like, I can't, or get mad at yourself. You might have felt mad, but then you just probably were like, took some breaths and just pushed through, which means that you didn't ignore you or have someone else come and help you ignore the part of you that fell down. Like you stayed with you. Okay.
Yeah. And I was really it's interesting, if you still have the 3 minutes that you have left.
Hmm.
It's interesting that, like, during that point, I was so grateful for not having a romantic partner in my life, because I
A
think,
shame.
had I had a romantic partner, I could have very easily fallen into being a victim,
Yeah. Hmm.
because my partner would have loved me so much that they could have allowed me to be the victim. And now, in my life here, I think it's like 7 years on, I'm learning I have to love myself in a different. It's not just about overcoming. It's not just about, like, yes, you can love yourself in overcoming. You can love yourself in this productive way. You can love yourself in moving forward and seeing advancement. But can you love yourself when that doesn't exist? Can you love yourself now as you are? Nothing special, right here, right now.
Can you love somebody else enough to not love them into a victim place?
That's right.
That's hard too. That's hard too.
Yeah. And I think that that's a big big ask as well. Like, can you love someone as they are? Like, I love when I'm in a romantic sort of relationship or whatnot. Like, I love being a cheerleader and a support for the person that I love. I don't want to solve all their problems. I have no interest in like I have no interest in like saving them or anything like that. Like if I love them, I know that they have done this job of being the person that I love all on their own without me. So they don't need me to be who they're going to be. And I just want to be here and continue like being a cheerleader. Like that's kind of like what I enjoy in relationship.
Yeah.
Oh, Kelly, thank you so much for
Thank
joining
you.
me. And I
Thank you.
appreciate and I'm glad that we got to connect. Good luck with all of your stuff over the
Thank
holiday.
you. Thank you. Thank you very much. I'll see you soon. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Yeah, we'll be around. So that was 26. The heavy is the root of the light. The unmoved is the source of all movement. Thus the master travels all day without leaving his home. However splendid the views, she stays serenely in herself. Why should the lord of a country flit about like a fool? If you let yourself be blown to and fro, you're bound to lose touch with your root. If you let restlessness move you, you lose touch with who you are. And yeah, we were talking so much about restlessness. We talked so much about that idea of losing touch with who you are, and both Kelly and myself gained so much from that conversation. I'm going to jump back to 50 so we can finish talking about 50. The master gives himself up to whatever the moment brings. We spoke about that pretty much in depth. He knows that he is going to die. And there is nothing left to hold on to. And that's that I mentioned, that idea that like I'm living on borrowed time. Like if there is nothing left for me to hold on to, then I can let it go. I know I'm going to die. I know I'm going to die, so I don't have to hold on to this identity. No illusion in his mind, no resistance in his body. He doesn't think about his actions. They flow from the core of his being. I always believe in myself. Now, it doesn't mean that I don't at times doubt, but once I get my head right, then I can feel the queen is going to join me. Oh my God, the queen! This is awesome. um, so yeah, let's see. The queen.
Hello.
Hello. How are
How are
you?
you?
I am well. Yeah, could I call you queen or just the queen? Is it?
Up to you. Up to you.
Okay, sounds good. Do you have a number between
A
1 and 80?
number?
Yeah,
What do you mean a
between.
number?
So this is Tao of the day, and I ask that people join. If you want, you can pick a number between 1 and 81, and then we will share your Tao for the day.
Okay. For me, it's one.
Number one, beautiful.
Hmm.
Okay, so are you familiar with the Tao Te Ching?
Yes, I love it.
Oh, beautiful. So the Tao that can be told is not the eternal Tao.
Mm-hmm.
The name that can be named is not the eternal name.
Mm-hmm.
The unnamable is the eternally real. Naming
Mm-hmm.
is the origin of all particular things. Free from desire, you realize the mystery. Caught in desire, you see only the manifestation. Yet mystery and manifestations arise from the same source. This source is called the darkness. Darkness within darkness, the gateway to all understanding.
Yes.
So, what are some of your initial thoughts there, Queen? I love that your name is Queen. I'm gonna,
I
yes.
well, there's a purpose for this. The fact that I am the queen, and it's because my people need me. I'm on the move. I see everything. I hear everything, and it's not. I'm gonna do something about it.
Beautiful.
Mm-hmm. No more evil. No more. I mean, no more doing nothing. And whoever does nothing, they're gonna hear from me. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
so so what it's interesting that you picked one, and so much of the beginning of this is about a name, and we've spoken about the name so much today,
Yeah.
you and I. So the Tao that can be told is not the eternal Tao.
Mm-hmm.
The name that can be named is not the eternal name.
Mm-hmm.
Like those are stand-ins for the power that you hold.
Mm-hmm. But the reason why I chose this name is because I need to be commanding, and I am the voice of the universe.
Yeah, you and everybody else.
Yeah, everybody else. But
Yeah.
I need to pick that name so that people listen more. That so that they focus on the truth, and that they
Hmm.
no longer, no longer get lost. Like, this is it, guys. Focus. I'm here to speak the truth. This is
Yeah.
it. I don't mess around. I don't waste your time. When I say something, it's because I mean it from the bottom of my heart, and it's
Yeah.
just true, right? It's like, why do I need to bush around the, how do I say that? Beat around the bush.
Beat
Yes, beat
beat
around the
around the bush.
bush.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Like, I don't need to do that. I don't need to play pretense. Like, I mean, I say what I mean. I mean what I say. Enough. Enough said. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, if I say you're beautiful, you're beautiful. Like, just take it. Okay? I don't need you to say like, but no, 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 no. It's free. The compliment's free, right? And then the other thing is, if you cannot take a simple compliment, what makes you think life will give you more?
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. So if you want to be rich, just think you're rich. And we are rich. We are rich with a lot of things. But we focus on the wrong things. We focus on
That's
what
true.
we don't want. And then you wonder why. You wonder why you're creating all these stuff for yourself, like why you're miserable. I'm like, okay. Did you think for a second why you are? Like, all the things you're thinking become thoughts. I mean, the thoughts become things. That's what they say, right?
Yep.
Right?
Yep. Yep.
So
Yep.
everything in the universe is a mirror of your thoughts. The physical world is a mirror of your thoughts.
Hmm.
So you cannot frown at the mirror and expect to smile back at you. That's not how it works, honey.
That's true.
Exactly. So start smiling.
Yeah. And I I agree with that completely. Um, so I want to ask, like, what is, like, I love your message. So your messaging of, like, like that which you experience is your perception of yourself.
Exactly.
So
It's
so
yeah, yeah.
so that is, that goes along with everything, that anything that has been, written, and that is worthwhile over the last, I don't know, couple millennia. Like, it's right in line with the Tao. The unnamable is the eternally real, right? Like, the eternally real is that thing that exists within us, is that thing that we have. um like the interesting thing is, like, naming is the origin of all particular things. So what do you have to say around that? Like, that naming is the origin of all particular things.
Well, we are what we label ourselves to be.
Right.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So doesn't matter what you label, right? The moment you label something, it becomes that thing.
And that label. Yes, yes, exactly, exactly. Once you label something, in your perception, it becomes that thing.
Exactly. And we connect one thing to another, and then we kind of get lost with all the illusions of the concepts that we created for ourselves, like time. Time is an illusion. There's only now.
Yes.
Yeah,
And everything exists within the now.
exactly. The only reason why we created time and space and everything was because, yes, those are the dimensions we need in order to kind of get from one place to another and experience, things. But we are one. That's the truth.
It's interesting. This moves us into the next line, which is free from desire, you realize the mystery, and caught in desire, you can only see the manifestation. As you speak about time and space, which are manifestations so that we can experience certain experiences, right? So we can have this bodily experience, right? We can have this structure of experience. um when we can free ourselves from the desires, we can realize that we are in this mystery. But when we're caught in the desire, all we can see is what we perceive within the manifestation.
Exactly. Because you focus on one thing, that's what you experience.
Hmm. Yeah, and that is a focus on something external, traditionally.
Yes.
Because if you focus on anything, it has to be it's going to be a manifestation, because otherwise it exists in mystery. Everything that is truth, everything that is higher than the manifestation, exists in mystery. It exists in paradox. Our lives as both spiritual and physical beings, both connected and separate, and all of these things, all of those paradoxes, they exist in mystery. Yet mystery and manifestation arise from the same source. This source is called darkness. What are your thoughts on darkness?
We need darkness to shine.
Yes, ma'am.
And those who have been through the most darkness can share the most light to the world.
I do agree with that.
Well, I say truth. That's
Yeah. When we can touch our truth, and especially when we have been through darkness, um,
we can shine bright.
yeah, we can shine a whole lot brighter.
I have this
And
quote.
it's
Oh,
interesting.
sorry.
No, please, please, please.
Okay. And it's such a beautiful quote. Um, and I heard it through the Avatar, the Last Airbender. I swear to God, that show I probably watched like 6, 7 times, but there's so many powerful messages, and this one was the most like powerful for me. It goes like this: the true mind can weather the power of illusion without getting lost. The true heart can tough the poison of hatred without being harmed. Since beginningless times, I think something like. Can you look it up? I forgot.
Sure.
Okay, hold on. Let
The
me.
Last Airbender.
Yeah, Avatar: The Last Airbender. The true mind. Okay, jeez. Oh, here we go. Since beginningless time, darkness thrives in the void, but always yields to purifying light. Oh,
Yielding is so important in the Tao, and yielding is so important in our lives. Just to understand that yielding is strength.
indeed.
And there is, yielding is the yin of the world. And like we speak in the Tao very often about this idea that the structure, right, the house that you build, whatever that house is, whether it's your body, whether it is your mind, whether it is an actual house, whether it is society that you work within, when you build that, that is the yang. And yet the space that you use inside of that house, inside of that economy, inside of all of the things that you build as structure, that's the yin. And that's the yielding. It allows you to use it. Right? The inside of a cup allows you to, it yields its emptiness for you to fill it.
Mm-hmm.
That's beautiful. Darkness within darkness is the gateway to all understanding.
Indeed.
You know, mystery is dark. Mystery is darkness. You know, when you're in the mystery, you don't know what's next. And not knowing what's next is a beautiful thing, because then anything's possible.
Yes.
When you
Even
perceive what is coming, then you turn off possibility.
right. Yeah. I have something to say. Where do you live?
Chicago.
Chicago. Okay. Uh, oh, you're on Clubhouse. Oh, I can't load it. I'll kind of connect with you on, yeah. I'll connect with you on IG and
Yeah.
LinkedIn.
Yeah, yeah, we'll DM and we'll be in touch.
Yeah, sounds good. Because when I come
Yeah,
in your area, I'll let you know.
absolutely.
Okay. Jeez, why isn't it working? That's weird. Anyway, I
So where are
connected
you?
with you on IG. At least that's good. I'm in Gatineau, Quebec, and in Ottawa. But
Oh,
I'm
okay.
always going to be on the move now. So yeah.
Well, good. I just started following you on Instagram as well. We will be in
Hmm.
touch.
Yeah. So yeah, I need to get going because I'm spending time with my sister and gotta get
Well,
our
you
nails
guys have a
done.
wonderful. Yeah, you guys have a wonderful last week of the year, and my best, my
Yeah.
love, my heart is with you.
Thank you. Sending you so much love.
Thank you.
Well, you go out there and bless the world with your awesomeness. Love you.
I will,
Bye.
my queen. That was beautiful. We had the Queen join us, and I am excited to have her blessing to go out and be me. And that's not that is it's so wonderful to have support wherever it comes, and it's wonderful to be accepted as I am, however I am, and however I show up. So we just covered one. I'm gonna just end with the last line of 50, and then although if anybody else wants to jump up, of course I am here. So the last line of 50 is, he holds nothing back from life, therefore he is ready for death, as a man is ready for sleep after a good day's work. Don't hold back from your life. That's what that's saying, I believe, and that's how I see it. I don't want to hold anything back from life. I want to be here, be present, be honest. When it's time to let go, I want to let go. When it's time to embrace, I want to embrace. And every moment of my life, I want to be driven by that which is inside me, that which is in my core, and that which is who I am at this moment, because I may not be this in another moment, in another day, in another time, but I can be me now. And as I am me now, I can be the best for the world right now as well. Thank you, Kelly. Thank you, the Queen. I think you were the only ones that joined me today, but I really appreciate you being present, showing me love, showing me respect, and speaking about the Tao with me. Well, today's Friday, so I will not be doing Tao of the day tomorrow or Sunday. So I want to wish each and every one of you. Oh, we do have someone coming on. Kristen Brown. I know Kristen and I have spoken before. So yeah, we're gonna. Yeah, Kristen, what's going on?
Good morning, Martin John.
Good morning. It's
Okay,
nice to
so
have you come on.
oh, I'm like, do I push? Do I not? Do I push? Do I not? I
Yes.
am literally running out of the house right now to do we have to go pay some, my husband's a builder. Long story short, we have to go pay for a lumber package. And I'm like, I love this topic so much. He's downstairs. I'm upstairs. I shut the door and I click the join.
Wow. That's you just living your life.
I'm doing it because that's what you're talking about. And I just wanted to jump on real quick before you hung up. First of all, wish you happy
Yeah.
holidays if you
Oh,
celebrate that.
yes.
And also to say that I, what you're talking about is how I live. I don't
Mm,
want to miss a second. I don't want to miss a day. Every single day, I seek to be a more wholer, fuller, authentic version of myself. I think I am. And then the next day, I can be like degrees even more,
yes.
And it's just, to me, I find it's the only way to live that really makes me feel like I'm living to my full extent.
Hmm.
And being someone who's had a lot of people pass away in my life, I've lost a lot of people. I know how quickly it can happen. And I don't want to miss a second of it. I want to push myself, not in crazy ways, not in uninspired ways, not in ways that would hurt me or that I need to prove myself. It's not like that. It's all strictly from inspiration. What am I feeling? What do I want to do right now? What is my spirit telling me to do?
Yeah.
And then I like to follow those things.
And I love the idea that we can ask those questions without needing or having an answer. And be like, what do I want right now? And you don't have to have an answer right now.
Yeah,
You can just sit there and be like, huh, I wonder what that is. And then just go ahead and get yourself a tea or something and just kind of like sit
exactly.
with it. Sit with it
Yeah,
because you know what? Maybe there isn't anything you need right now.
yeah, exactly. That's kind of a great place to be too.
Yeah.
And let's just go there for a second, Martin John. Giving yourself permission to do nothing. You know
Yes.
what? I really don't need or want anything right now. Because a lot of times I feel we have to keep hustling and doing and going, and we really don't. So that's why I'm saying honoring myself in each moment, whatever that means. My life has completely slowed down in n- how do I say this? In a opposite of frenetic, whatever that would be. You know, if what would be a good word for that?
Well, your life is,
Uh,
yeah.
it's just slow. It's just I've allowed it to slow down because I always felt like I needed to be
I mean, calm, I suppose.
calm. Yeah, creating, doing, you know, talking to a friend. It's like I felt like I had to do all of this outside stuff to feel like I was accomplishing. And that switched for me and it went really internal with just honoring for me each moment, each day, each second.
Yeah.
In whatever form that looks like. Do you have a similar experience?
Yes. That has been happening slowly, but over the last month,
Hmm.
I have, I mean, all of the things that I was like, yes, I could just stop and I don't have to, like, those ideas that I've had over years have really just solidified.
Yeah.
And now I have been so introspective and so still, and not introspective in a productive way, in this idea of like I am thinking about myself, like
Right, right.
right. But it's just like, oh wow, being still feels so calm and feels like in this way of not escaping, in this way of being
Yeah.
present with it, and I feel like invited to it at any moment. Even right now, I'm feeling like, I mean, I got my computer open and like I got the Dow in front of me and all of this, and I'm like, oh, I'm excited about closing this. And I don't have anything to do,
Yeah.
but I'm just gonna close it and then maybe go for a walk, maybe make breakfast, maybe do
Yeah.
something. But it's like there's no plan.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
there is a part of me that's scared about that because
Mm.
I got to make sure that I make a plan for 2022. But like really I'm like, man, I might not do that today.
Yeah.
Maybe that doesn't have to happen today. And I realize over 46 years of being alive, I am not lazy, right?
Right.
I'm not just sitting here not doing
No.
shit. Like something is happening under the surface, and it's okay. I
That's
can
what I think.
trust that.
Yes. And I think that's the place to get to is we don't have to be production hounds. We really don't. I mean, I don't know about you with the law of
No.
attraction, but it's really just about following inspiration and letting God, source, universe do the rest. Because
Right.
we got to show up for it. But I always talk about, I use this metaphor when we're really hot and heavy trying to chase something in life. Energetically, it's like having a red, like let's picture a red beach ball in your pool and just pounding your arms trying to get to that beach ball, right? What happens? The beach ball pushes away.
Yeah.
And when we do touch it, it's slippery and it just slides out from our fingers. But if we relax and sit back and just tread water, for lack of a better word, or lay on a raft, eventually that ball is going to come over and bump into us,
Yeah.
right? That's how it feels for me. That's the metaphor that I use. It's like I'm doing something, I'm doing inspired action, but I'm allowing universe to do the rest. And the times that I've done that in my life, things like fall into place better than I could ever possibly imagine. It's
Right.
when I'm in there trying to push the cook out of the way, the chef out of the way, and go, no, no, you need more salt, you need more paprika, you need more, that I'm kind of muddying the waters of what is trying to come my way. I feel like when we live in the moment and we live purposefully and peacefully, and I say this, and just so everybody knows, this I've not been like this my whole life. I mean, this is not like, oh, Kristen's been this Buddha her whole life, nor am I a Buddha now.
Right.
I'm just, I have discovered this place of, I don't even know what to call it, balance that between the doing and being and following inspired action and knowing when to rest and slowing the fuck down.
You know the story, the
Yeah.
story that you told about like the beach ball and the and you know your analogy of the law of attraction stuff. You know, there's a that just kind of came to me a verse of the Tao, which is chapter 74. We're not going to read it all, but I'm going to read the part that is significant.
Okay.
Trying to control the future is like trying to take the master carpenter's
Oh,
place. When you handle the master carpenter's tools, chances are you'll cut your hand.
that's it. That's beautifully said. I love that. That's number 74.
Yeah, yeah. And that's it's like when you were talking about it, it's just like don't try and take over for the universe. The
Don't.
universe has got this. Like if you think you can do better, and it always surprises me when like deeply religious folk go like, how could this have happened? I'm like, you believe in God? Yes. Do you think you know he knows everything, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
and I'm just like, well, do you think you know better than God? Well, then don't get mad. You
Mm-hmm.
know, like put this is when you need to put your faith to the test. You know, and I'm not a
Yeah.
religious,
Yeah.
like I don't hold tight to religious, but I do hold tight to this idea that like this is the way it is right now, and this is the way it is in this moment, and that's okay no matter what. Like if someone's actions cause you pain, their actions are what their actions are. And
Yeah.
that's, like, yes, of course, there are a grievous, like, actions being done in the world, but that's still what's being done. And I'm not saying we should be complacent to that, but we have to recognize that if we are, we read 26 today with Kelly, and she had said, and in that it said, I'm putting up right now. If you let restlessness move you, you lose touch with who you are.
Mm-hmm.
And that is like if
Yes.
you allow yourself to be swayed by everybody's little actions, you can't be in touch with who you are at all.
Exactly. That's exactly right. It's not about us. I mean, I'm just going to simplify it. It's not about us
It's
what other
not
people
not
do.
at all.
It's not about us. And that's, I got that little tidbit from the Four Agreements with Don Miguel Ruiz. Don't take
Yep,
things
yep, yep.
personally. And I mean, that tiny little book that I probably read in 30 or 40 minutes changed my life. I was like, oh, oh, there's a concept. Don't take things I mean, I didn't even know. It didn't even occur to me at that time. I think I was late 20s, early 30s at that point. But I started practicing that, and it took a minute, for that to sink in and for me to really apply it and reapply it and reapply it and reapply it. And I'm not saying 100% either. I always want to disclaim that, I'm not like I have my fallbacks at times where I'm like, what the hell was that? But when I have a tool like that I can rely on, I can go back and I can re-feel it in my heart of what it felt, what it means in truth form. When I can go back and re-feel things, I'm like, that's right. This has nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I do not need to
Nothing.
attach to that.
Yeah.
No. I mean, I even think he says in the book, if someone walks up to you in the mall and shoots you, it has nothing to do with you.
Nope. No.
You know?
No. It's just what happened.
And it's it's where they're coming from and what they're all about, because I think we get all jacked up when we take others' behavior as an indicator of our worth.
Yes.
It has nothing to do with our worth. It's
That's
this
right.
person's story. Like he says, this person's dream, this person's reality. Dream not in like aspiration, dream like in illusion. This person's, you know, all their backstory came together at this moment to do this. How can they determine your worth in this moment? They can't.
And
Nothing to
I
do with
also
it.
like to look at that in another way as well, where it's like your having gotten shot has nothing to do with him or that person who shot you.
Right.
Their having shot you has something to do with them, but
Yeah.
nothing to do with you. Your having been shot
Yeah.
has nothing to do with them. And because you are like, it is just what is going on in your experience now
Yeah.
and has nothing to do with you.
And this is going to be, you probably get this, but some people might be like, what the fuck? It's the things that happen. I often feel, and I've noticed this in my own life, that things happen for me, not to me.
Yes,
Even if it's a betrayal.
absolutely.
And how many times have people
Absolutely.
said, I got cancer and it changed my life. I became a better person.
Yeah, I got
My,
MS and it changed me completely. And
yeah.
and my change started when I got sober. And my
Yes.
addictions, I was a victim to my addictions. And
Yeah.
then I realized that those were going to set me on a path to be who I am. And then I experienced the diagnosis of MS, and I realized
Yeah.
that was something that I got to experience as well.
Right. Right. It's all so fascinating. I super appreciate your talk, Smart and John. And I'm going to let you go so I can go to
You
Home
got it. Yeah, you
Depot
got it. You got some lumber bundles to deal
uh,
with, and
to pay for it.
I
Yeah.
appreciate you. You have a wonderful holiday,
Thank you. You too, Martin
and
John. And
we'll be in touch.
we for sure. And I'll jump on when I can. Thank you, sweetheart. Have an amazing day and weekend and holiday.
Yeah,
Bye.
it's so beautiful to have this community, and it's so beautiful to be me. I'm just gonna say that because it is. I am pretty fucking awesome, and I connect with people, and I love people, and each and every one of you that has joined me and that has contributed to the Tao of the day. I want to just thank you, each and every one of you. It is Christmas Eve today, and I want Santa's out there doing his thing, and I want to just recognize that this is a space of rebirth. Right? This is a space of birth as we enter the new year, as we enter the new understanding of who we are going to be next year. I want each and every one of you to uh, care for yourselves and care for one another. We need more love today than we have ever needed in the past, and we are more capable of love today than we have ever been in the past. So that is a very auspicious place to be. So thank you. Have a wonderful day, and we will be in touch after the Christmas time. I'll be here on Monday. because I do Tao of the Day Monday through Friday weekdays. I'm Martin John. I host the Recover Yourself podcast, and as I expressed earlier with my portrait stuff, I do take limited number of clients, limited number of one-on-one clients every month. I do have workshops also that you may be interested in. If you're interested in the work that I do, all of the work that I do is related. So if you're interested in anything that I talk about, you'd be interested in everything that I talk about. And that may be a little much, but I, like I said earlier, I'm pretty awesome. So so definitely join me on my website. You can find all of the links. Thank you, the Queen. Thank you, Kelly. Thank you, Kristen. You ladies are beautiful, and I hope each and every one of you have a wonderful holiday. Well, this once again is a Recover Yourself production. I'm your host, Martin John, and until next time, keep recovering yourself.